So, you know, there was this crazy part about it, you know. Like when I was going to the family court of October 6, 2006, they kept trying to make, you know, us be a family with grown people that had sex with a child. A child. You know, with grown people that had sex with a child. A child. And you know, I'm like, I just I can't do it. You know, I just can't do it. I just can't do it. I can't. Them people are grown people that had sex with a child. A child. I don't want to get in trouble for the sex that they had. I understand that it's called a family court. But I do not want to be friends and family with grown people that are known for having sex with a child. A child. You know. And it is part of what happened, you know. August 31st, 2004, a child was born. I had an apartment at 402 May Circle in the city of Warrior, Alabama. I told the girl that she didn't have to work because, you know, being my wife is being my wife. And, you know, you have to be there being my wife, you know, with me. And the child. You know, because it was a child. You know. And I don't know what happened like July 18th, 2006, when all of a sudden, even though I only said I wanted one child, next thing you know, July 18th, 2006, you know, what ended up being born then? A child. A child. So, you know, girl, you know, talking about going to work and stuff like that. I just really don't know because, like, if you was talking about going to work and stuff like that and all of that, just using the name April Williams and stuff, was it even the same person or whatever? And like, what was I supposed to do if, you know, if I'm like, I never agreed to be the babysitter or, you know, left at home with the baby and then, like, you know, the babysitter of a child. A child. And then, you know, July 18th, 2006, another child, you know, like, you know, it's just crazy, you know. And I would never blame the children for being born because, you know, when a child is born, a child is just a child. And that's what kind of craziness would that be to blame a child? So, you know, since I wouldn't really blame the child, you know, like when the child was born August 31st, 2004, you know, well, you know, them people that said they was that girl, you know, sisters and family, they was like, you better make sure that they even your children, that they even your babies and stuff like that, you know. Talking about who the children look like and stuff like that, you know. I was too busy trying to take care of the child, you know. Leg was all broken, stuff like that when I went to the hospital on August 31st, 2004, you know. Going to physical therapy and stuff like that, you know. All to care about a child. A child. And, you know, it seemed like, you know, it became all about a child. Because, you know, baby wouldn't talk for some reason or whatever. You know. And then like, she got herself pregnant on purpose with the girl that was there told me. She said her name was April, you know. It's crazy, you know. It's like July 18th, another child, you know, they said they was trying to trigger me, you know, to do bad stuff. And I don't even know if it's true, but, you know, it's anyway, man. But I felt bad the whole time, man. People be thinking when you grow up and get your own car, your own house, your own apartment, blah, blah, blah. Man, the car was paid for. I didn't have a car note. The car was paid for. You know, stuff like that. right? They had the apartment, you know, and the food and stuff like that, you know, so-called girl of my dreams and stuff like that. But it's kind of crazy because I really didn't have access to her at all. It's like she wasn't ever there because for some reason she was always at somebody else's job and I was always stuck at home with a child. A child. And I'm like, wait a minute. They done made you into a babysitter, Brandon, for a child. And then, you know, just to keep you distracted, it seemed like they done thrown in another child on July 18th, 2006. So, no, I felt real bad. And I ain't fight or do none of this stuff. You know, I was just like, these children, oh, Lord. You know, that's what you named the child, you know, on July 18th, 2006. You named him Lord. Oh, you know, it's just so crazy. And like, you know, a lot of these seem like abuse, you know, that, you know, it seemed like, you know, mental, emotional, spiritual, and, you know, abused and, you know, just because you planned for a marriage and being married, and then next thing you know, you a babysitter of a child and then another child, and then you like, where your wife at? It's just like now, you like, you don't even know where she is. It's like, I feel like weird, you know, something wrong, you know. It don't seem like I did anything wrong. It seemed like somebody else had a plan of something that it just don't seem the right way, you know. Something wrong, you know. Like, you know, being married, you know, I believe in being married and stuff like that, you know. I got a marriage license certificate. It says April 30th of 2004. It says the wife name says April and stuff like that. You know, and that's what I was saying, like when the child was born July 18th, you know, 2006, it's just some seem wrong and some seem bad, you know. Them people, they say a girl named April, they said that April Williams, and then they said a dude said he was her brother named Jeremy Williams, and that he had murdered a dude named Lawrence Jones in the year of 2001 or something about a court case in 2003, and he got a life sentence for murder. I'm not a witness of any murder, that he did or something like that. So, I'm not accusing him of any of that stuff. But, they got mad at me for something that he did. And then somebody that said she was his girlfriend or his baby mama, somebody said that a girl said she was Jeremy's girlfriend or Jeremy's baby mama. And why would they be mad at me for something that Jeremy did or something that he did, Like, I don't even really know him. And then from what they told me, they were like, he was different people or whatever. He was doing the same crazy mess, the way they said it, using different people names and different identities and all these weird twin stuff or whatever. And then they say he was the same way. He was one of them people that had sex with, was grown and had sex with a child. It's like, it's crazy, a child. And so, after, July 18th, 2006, being in the same apartment at 402 May Circle in Warrior, Alabama is evidence that I tried to move somebody out of the mom house into a different neighborhood, trying to help keep somebody safe. When a person said they wanted to go to work, I wasn't forcing anybody to be in places that they claim they didn't want to be. And I wasn't trying to hold nobody back from having a job or a career. I was just saying that something gonna seem wrong, or it's gonna seem like it's not the right way if you not being there for your husband and you not being there for the child, and stuff like that. And, according to the marriage license, if you acting like somebody else, is the husband or stuff like that, it just seemed weird. And so, I didn't force anything, and, I was in the city of Warrior, Alabama, it's evidence that when she said that somebody, was a murderer and grown people was having sex with children, and she didn't have to say that because I was there. It was grown people that was bragging on having sex with children because, they was trying to say that they had sex with my wife or my girlfriend when she was a child. This was crazy. So I'm like, it's just weird, And when it was July 18th, 2006, and I was staying in the city of Warrior, Alabama, in the apartment, and all that stuff. When that second child was born and stuff, it was like, it just felt bad because, I felt bad the whole time. I felt worse, It wasn't no abuse going on and stuff like that, of course. So, it was like somebody had did what they call witchcraft or some kind of magic stuff or something, like, because it was like, that was the point of it. When they did that stuff, they was like, I ended up going back to the city of Birmingham talking about, you know, they used the music, that's what they used to trick me. They was like, if you go back to Birmingham, then you will be in the city where the club's at and you can get your music played, because now since you got more than one child, is what they told me, you would need to like make money from your music and from your productions and stuff, and because you got a family you need to take care of, then when you go down there, all they tried to do was get a dude to have sex. All they wanted people doing was having sex with a child. A child. And who was the child? Man, they targeted that girl that said that she was their little sister. They said she had a little sister named Candace. They kept saying, Candace, 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 Candace. They were like, Candace like you, Brandon. Candace got a crush on you, Brandon. You should be with Candace, Brandon. She really, really like you, and she always liked you since you was little. And they was like, they say that's their girl youngest sister. They said she a child. And back then she was a child. They said she grown now, but it's just crazy. So what happened when you got down there? They also used that as an excuse. That word family, that's what they used to trick you. Whether they say that's your brother, that's your sister, that's your mama, your dad, they used the word family. And then that was kind of confusing because having a marriage like that was like, well, I don't want to look like the type of person that hates their in-laws. And since I never actually did anything to them, just because they was being mean to me, maybe they'll stop being mean one day and see that I wasn't really bad to them. That dumb way of thinking that they told me now, they said I was just a fool, I was just stupid. Like, them people don't care about me. They were just using me or whatever. They said they just wanted me going to jail or getting locked up for doing stuff with a child. And since I didn't do anything with a child, then they just made up excuses for me to be locked up anyway, I never really had no victims and stuff. But, they say that's the kind of family they was. They said whenever it's a crime family, one of them be a police officer. They have somebody that they know that work at the hospital. And they have somebody they know that work in the courtroom. And they was like, you probably should just stay out of their areas and stuff like that. Because they was like, they was locking people up for no reason and stuff like that or whatever, They was like, it's just crazy, man. They was like, and that's what happened, But, tell the rest of it first. They was like, when you went down there, they was like, where did they keep going to? The same place that I tried to get them away from. It was like, just because you went to the city of Birmingham and it was the same city, there's no excuse for them trying to take you back to them. How could they be like, the girl that said her name was April or whatever, it's not blaming her, but it's just saying, if she, your wife, because different people was using that name, and maybe it wasn't your wife that took you over there. Maybe it was just somebody using that name trying to trick you. But your wife should know. A person that was saying their name was April kept on taking me back to that house, on Avenue T 2928, and it was people that said that they was churching and stuff like that, and they kept on acting like they wanted me having sex with a child, a child. And the person was going over there saying their name was April, and I was like, I'm not going back over there because they kept trying to do sex stuff like that or whatever. And one of the girls had jumped on my back one day, and I was trying to run out the door. One of the girls seemed like they was trying to break the damn bathroom door down to get in the room with me. I don't even know who it was, because I kept pushing on the door, and I never let them get in the bathroom with me, So I didn't really see who it was, but she know who she was, who was trying to get inside that bathroom, that upstairs bathroom with me. And, it's like, one of the girls tried to get in the bed with me and stuff like that. And I got up there, one of the girls, they had tried to set up some birthday date or whatever, talking about some Nay in April or whatever and stuff. And I'm like, It's crazy because they had said something about they said Nene and April had did girl sex stuff with each other in there. It's like they tried to set up a threesome one time on a birthday, and then I was sitting up in the bed, watching a movie on the TV screen. They were like, yeah, that was like some kind of witchcraft and stuff, because I wasn't even watching the movie. Looking back on it, I'm like, this is weird. What I ain't like what the heck going on? Why? What is this? It was like, yeah, they just did you wrong, Brandon. And it's like, but he was just watching the movie on the screen. Like, no, I wasn't watching a movie. Looking back on it, I was just sitting there looking stupid. It's like I was under some kind of spell or something. I wouldn't have even sat there like that. Like, they forced all of that stuff. This is wrong. I'm like, I don't like going over to their house. They be doing magic stuff or whatever and making people look stupid. It's like that TV show Bewitched, being somebody's husband, and then they make you do all of this stupid stuff, but it ain't fun going to jail, getting beat up, and all of this bad stuff that they did to my body. That stuff hurt, man. Why they sitting up laughing, whoever they is, because, I don't think my wife would have did none of this stuff. And it's like, this stuff feel bad and wrong, what they did. And it was like, why they kept taking you over to that house? It was like, they was saying it's their sisters and it's their mom and it's their family, and they used that word sister a lot and stuff like that. And it was like, that's when I started learning after a while. It was like, it's the same way when they said them dudes was your brother. Whether they said they your brother or your sister. When somebody is like a grown person that had sex with a child, or when they trying to make you into a grown person having sex with a child, it's at that point to where you be like, yeah, you can't be brothers and sisters and family and friends with people like that, because all they seem to be obsessed with is trying to get everybody having sex with a child, you know, or they want everybody having sex with a child. It's like that's the kind of stuff they want people doing, and you know, I'm just not even part of that kind of stuff like that. This stuff is just wrong, and it was like, because they did try to do that when you went over there, and they was like, yeah, it was all of them, because then I'm over there, sleep on the living room floor one day where the girl said her name April. She said she my wife. I wake up the next morning, some other girl laying like right there next to me with her mouth wide open or whatever, and it wasn't the regular way. It was like in some kind of sexual way, like they wanted me to stick my thing in it or something like that. I'm like, this is wrong. They kept setting up sex situations, for me to do stuff, and then got mad at me when I didn't. I'm like, why would she be laying right next to me with her mouth wide open and stuff like that? She wasn't right there when I went to sleep last night. And they was like, yeah, this just seemed wrong. Like you know what she seemed like she was making herself available for. And I'm like, and then that's when those bad thoughts and ideas would be in the person's head like that and stuff. And I was like, these people just wrong. And that's exactly what they would do. They would do stuff and set up stuff on purpose. And then if you would have tried to do something, they would have be like, I didn't tell him to do that. He chose to do that, and he abused me and stuff. And they were like, you don't even want to be at a place like that or whatever. It's like basically you wake up in the morning and the girls sitting up with their legs wide open, you know what I'm saying, with all of their business showing or whatever, and like they want you to do something or whatever, and then as soon as you do something, be like, ooh, he did something to me. Like you was asking him to do it and stuff like that. And they were like, yeah, even if they do that, you still ain't supposed to do stuff, because just like that R. Kelly stuff, you still supposed to say, I'm grown and you a child. Stop trying, whatever that stuff you be doing, trying, wanting me having sex with you, or having those kind of thoughts, whether it's projecting and stuff like that. Like, and they were like, just don't even go over there. So, I told the girl, like, I'm not going over there, because all they seem to do is try to, all they seem to try to do is sex stuff, and then saying like they be projecting it at me in a way to, well, they be trying, like, it's just crazy, man. And they were like, it's kind of hard to do that, because they were like, I went to Green Acres Middle School. I went to Glenn Middle School. I went to Ensley High School. You know, I went to Phillips High School. I went to Jackson Olin for summer school one time. All the girls that went to school with me know they like Brendan, not really a really sexual person like that. He didn't even really have any girlfriends or go on dates like that. If them people was doing nasty sex stuff to him and projecting, that was them trying to set him up, because they were like, he don't even go around doing stuff like that or whatever. And they were like, that's never been his character. He didn't go to prom. He didn't go on any dates or whatever. He didn't go to middle school prom or high school prom. Shit. Even when he, said he got married April 30th, 2004 is what his marriage license said. He didn't even go to prom then. He wasn't ever trying to show off his girlfriend or his wife, in a way of making other people feel bad, like the other children in high school. He didn't even go to the prom. He let them have their day. He didn't try to come there and shine on the other children, when, it was prom day for her to graduate and all that stuff in the year of 2004. He wasn't bothering them people at all. And that they know that stuff. And they were like, that's wrong what they did to him. And then you mean to tell me, just because he was making music and stuff, they tried to make him into being one of those child molester people? They kept taking him back to that house on 29, 28 Avenue T, where them grown people was having sex with children. It was like, isn't it that same house where they said that dude TJ them would be at? And they said them dudes that they said was Delaney and Johnny, them grown men that they said was Stacy's boyfriend when she was a child, would be at. They were like, well, why would April even be going over there? They were like you think like you weren't supposed to be going over there, They was like if she, was the same April that what they were like being married, you just supposed to be married and be with your husband. And if y'all had children, then you had children. And if they took your children, then it ain't your fault what they did. You just supposed to be with your husband or whatever and stuff like that. That's what they were saying. I'm like, yeah, that sound like that makes sense. If it ain't your fault that they took the church, and then just tell the truth. It ain't your fault that they took the church and they see a child got sick or whatever, or people at the court say the church was in best need or best interest or need of supervision or something like that, I did what I could, but. And then, like, it's crazy because they say they're not even really churching no more. They said one of them's supposed to be 18, one of them's supposed to be 16, and one of them's supposed to be 14, that they teenagers and stuff like that. And that, it's just crazy, And they were like, it's like they kind of ruined my life. Not the children, of course, but, the people that set this up, it's like they kind of ruined my life. Because when it's supposed to be about being married, they tried to make it all about children and a child and stuff like that, So it's just crazy, man. And I don't like it because it was like, I didn't like going over there to Avenue T because that's where them grown people would be having sex with children. They were like, they were like, I was there with a marriage license because they were like, oh, he just thought he was at the house with his in-laws, In the way that they told me, they said they was trying to find out why they were so mean to them, like, and me. It's like, this how I was tricked over there. When I was there, they was like, why would you be there? They were like, she was trying to find out why that lady was being so mean to me, since I'm married, and she was trying to find out why they was, grown people was having sex with children if, they said that stuff is against the law and they weren't supposed to be doing it. And the crazy thing about it, they was like, but some of the people was like, yeah, and while she was saying they was trying to find out why they was doing it, really they was just not saying she was doing it, but the people that was there was trying to trick you into being one of the grown people having sex with children. Talking about a little girl was in love with you is what they told you. And talking about a little girl said she had a crush on you is what they told you. And then they wanted you to feel the same way about her so that you would end up, having sex with a child. A child. That's the way they set it up. And so I'm like, yeah, all this is wrong because they was trying to have me set up having sex with a child. in the middle of a family court case when they said I got 3 children, and like, well, they was like, well, think about it. They didn't go to none of your family court cases. They didn't really care about none of that. And you didn't see them at your court cases or at none of your visitations or whatever when you went to jail in Bibb County in August 9th, 2015. So it seemed like they didn't care about none of that stuff, and they don't care about you. It's just that they used all of your love when you was over there caring about them. And the only reason you was caring about them is because you was caring about the person that said she was your wife. And when she said they was her family and stuff like that and all of that stuff, it's just because she said she was your wife's sister. It's just because they said they was your wife's family. You know, it's just because she said she was your wife and that they was her family and that she was trying to, figure out why all of this abuse happened, and you was trying to be there for her and with her and stuff like that. Because they were like, yeah, he ain't never went over there just him spending the night and trying to hang out when it's just him. He was always only over there when they said his wife was there, or if his wife was there, or if he went with her when she went over there. Like, he wasn't never just hanging out with them over there. So it was like, yeah, I don't know what them other people was doing, because it seemed like they was just there for the sex or something like that. I really don't know. I don't really think the way that they do or whatever. And they was like, all of them people that she said was her sisters or her cousins at that time, that when you went to Avenue E 2715, and then, it was like they all then growed up or whatever, and pretty much seemed like they didn't had a baby or a child with somebody and stuff like that. So it's like, they would have to tell the truth that, yeah, I'm the one that wasn't there for having sex with the child, so I guess I'm the different one, and it was like, that's what happened with the family court stuff. It's like, I don't know if it was something about, that particular area of Alabama or those particular people in Alabama. I'm not saying everybody in Alabama is that way, because, I never met everybody in Alabama, but maybe it was just that particular area of those particular people, but those people seem like they was addicted to being grown people having sex with a child. And that's why I went to jail, because on when a child was born August 31st, 2004, and a child was born July 18th, 2006, when I went to jail for contempt of court in the family court of Jefferson County, it's because I was arguing with the people in the courtroom, because I was telling them that them people that said that they named Yolanda and Willie, they'll call Yolanda Nay or Big Mama, and they'll call that Willie dude Chucky or some crazy mess like that, or Willie or Chuck. I was like, them people are child abusers, and the people who they say that they church and is like that, Antoine and Aldrin and all that, like, them people is people that had sex with a child, or had babies with children was born from a middle school girl, Tawana Williams, and she was still a child. I told them not to send the children to that lady house, and they know that. And they was like, no, they going over there anyway. I told them in the family court, do not send those children to that Yolanda lady's house. I told them I was abused as a child. I told them that, the children, they said they was the brothers and the sons of her. Them people was grown, people that had sex with children and a child. And they was like, they saw you with them from time to time here or there a couple of times. I was like, yeah, I told you about that. They the same way. They would use that word forgive and stuff like that. They tricked me, When I got my marriage license, it was trying to move on with my life, being married, having a wife, being a husband is, what I was doing being a husband, is what I'm doing now, telling my truth as a husband. They kept trying to trick me. They was like, that's your brother or that's your mama or that's your family, you know. And it was like after saying it so many times, you start getting mad. That's your brother, that's your mama, that's your no, it ain't. This lady that abused me. That's the lady that, you know, never didn't bring me no food and stuff like that. That's the lady that only used me for money, and when she couldn't get a social security check from me no more, and they said I gotta get my own money, she had a if me attitude, you know. She had a and she don't like me attitude type stuff like that, you know, stuff like that. If it's nothing to gain from it, you know, then that's how she look at it. You know, she look at us like a eat or something. If it's nothing to gain from it, then why bother? You know, that type of stuff. Real nasty attitude stuff. So it's like crazy because, you know, like I told them folks in that family court, and it was the same way. With God as my weakness, I told them that about Trinity. But I know what they was going to do. At least I thought I know what they was going to do. I was at the UAB hospital. I was like, I'm going to go in that courtroom and I'm going to tell them, do not send Trinity to Yolanda House. Do not send Trinity to Yolanda House. Do not send Trinity to Yolanda House. And I was like, them people so mean since all they ever want to do is the opposite of what I told them to do. I was like, I think they gonna send that girl right over there to Yolanda House just because I told them not to do it. And I was like, you know, that's exactly what they did. And I was like, if she ever got abused and if she ever got molested and if anything bad ever happened to her for her being over there, I feel bad about it because just to go against me and do the opposite of what you thought I wanted, and then a child end up being molested just because you wanted to do the, and they were like, that's what that lady did in that court. Whenever you would say, don't do this, she'll be like, I ain't scared of him. That's exactly what she gonna do. And it was like, and look at them church in life now. You don't know what happened to Trinity. You don't know what happened to Lord Gerald. You don't know, just because a lady said, if Brandon said do something, she gonna intentionally do the opposite just to, I don't know why. I don't know why she would do that. And they were like, Brandon told her the truth. He told her not to send the children over there because now when you look back on it, yeah, them was grown people that had sex with children. And it's not his fault what happened because of what a family court did or what they sent them. And they were like, yeah, those are facts. On October 6th, 2008, I told that lady, and then it's like that lady Yolanda was there at the hospital, and I don't know why she was there, because they had did that in the court. They was like, they won't let you see the children if you be mean to that lady Yolanda. And then I wasn't being mean to her. But they was like, they tried to stop me from telling the truth. They was like, but them, they was grown people that was sexually abusing and having sex with children and stuff like that. They was like, nah, don't say that kind of stuff. They was like, but it's true. And then after a while, they was like, yeah, it is true. Like, he has to say that kind of stuff because the children would have to know, yeah, he told them not to go over there and not to do that stuff. And he been telling them that, and now looking back on it, they kind of see why, because they like, yeah, them people had more than a couple of victims. They didn't just have sex with a child, or Brandon. Them people was grown people that had sex with children. And it's kind of sad because whether it was Nancy Melchior, August 9th of 2015, or whether it was the people in the family court case, because they say it's some different people there now. So you don't want to blame them for what the old people did. But they said the people that was there back in, 2006, that's messed up when just because a person don't like you, or Brandon, when they did the opposite of what you said every time just to go against you. And now when you look back at the church and seem like they done been abused and used and all of that stuff just because somebody wanted to be, an enemy of you. Just because somebody wanted to go against you and be like, who really got the power in the courtroom type stuff like that. Like, the power to abuse children, that's a power you wouldn't really want, man. It's crazy, man. And it was like, and they did all this to people that they said was your children. So it's like they was abusing you when they did that. every day when you was in jail, August 9th, 2015, all of 2016, and all of 2017, even when I was going through mental health court, when they saw me, I wasn't acting crazy. I wasn't acting that way. When they was like, what? I was a dude that was like, oh, Lord, what about the 3 children? What about all this stuff they went through? They like, why you wasn't saying this stuff? They like, if they said that a girl went out with grown men when she was a teenager and did a bunch of stupid stuff that she felt embarrassed about to the point to, and ashamed of it or whatever, if she my wife and stuff like that, like, they was like, maybe she didn't want me talking about all that stuff in the courtroom. And then I'm being abused, that this even abuse what they doing to me now, because if you got to say all of this stuff to explain what happened, that's crazy, because they was like, they did all of this stuff or whatever, and it's like, to a child, man, because they were like, she was a child, when they did this stuff, when the wrong people was doing this stuff, and they were like, so who is a Brandon? They were like, who was they supposed to say it? Whether it was in family court or whether they said it was in courtroom on August 9th, 2015. Who is a Brandon? Who is this dude that, the marriage, like I said, he the husband? He the dude that when all these grown people was having sex with children, and when children was acting like they wanted to have sex with grown people, he sat on the back porch and waited for a girl named April, and she said he had to wait until she was 17, and so that means he would be 19. He stayed a virgin until he was 19, and then the girl that said her name was April, and looking at all these different pictures, they don't know if it was the same girl every time, but she said she was his wife, so he feel like he only had sex with, his wife, a girl that said her name was April, and he feel like any of the other people that sexually abused him that was using her ID and stuff like that, that it's wrong what they did. And they said if it's sexual abuse, then it don't count. They said sexual abuse is sexual abuse, and now the sexual relationship. So it was like, yeah, he only had the sexual relationship with his wife, if any of them was even his wife, because these people so mean, it's starting to seem like these people have been so mean. I don't know if they had ever let me have sex with my wife at all, or if it was somebody different the whole time. And they was like, yeah, his wife wouldn't know why he feel that way, because all of these stories and stuff that they did, they like, he not supposed to know. I mean, he is, but he not. None of these things supposed to happen this way. He's supposed to know who his wife is, because all of these different people weren't supposed to play these games with him. But since they did do all of this wrong, bad stuff, he not supposed to know, because how can he know if it was different people doing all of this bad stuff to him and they made a mess like this? He wouldn't know, because he didn't plan for none of this stuff to happen. But he would know how he feel. He feel bad and weird about all of this stuff that they did, because it seemed like different people said their name was April, and it seemed like different people did bad, sick stuff to me, and that I'm the one that got blamed for the bad stuff that they did. All the way to the extent of, yeah, that's what happened, right? All the way to the extent that sometime around about 2019, 2020, whenever that was, they arrested me inside of a church in Birmingham, and that's when they had beat me up, the police, and they used a taser gun. The police molested me in the street. They grabbed my balls and squeezed them, and then looked me in the face. It was weird. They was looking me in the face while they was squeezing my balls or my testicles and squishing them around. And I'm like, this is wrong, man. This is wrong. And it's like crazy. It's like, was one of them girls that said her name was April, the police, was she his girlfriend or something like that? He seemed to have took it personal, because it was like, if those was different girls and they was different people girlfriend or whatever, like, why would you abuse me because a girl sexually molested me? They kept saying they was April and my wife. They was like, that's crazy. They tried to get me in trouble for stuff that somebody else did. It's like somebody else saying, hey, that girl that said her name was April, she was really that other dude girlfriend. She sexually abused you. I'm going to kick your butt, Brandon, because she sexually abused you. I'm like, wait a minute. How you going to beat me up because your girlfriend sexually abused me and claimed that she was my wife? This is crazy. I didn't want her doing that stuff to me, And I'm not even sure if that's the way that it happened. It's just crazy. So, you was in that church on Sunday. Why was you in that church on Sunday? Look at them pictures. It looked like different girls had the crazy sex stuff to me. Since the people that said that they was them Johnson people and them Williams people, since they acted like they was mean and act like they wasn't my family, the only place I know to go to was the church. Was it about God and the church and all of that stuff? No, it wasn't about none of that stuff then. It wasn't about God, the church, and other. It was in a way, because if it's about the truth, it's always about God. But it wasn't about learning about something that the Bible said. It was about, hey, my name Brandon. You know, they say them 3 children, according to the family court of Jefferson County that was in that church, they said them is my children. So when I was in that church, they was like, hey, different people been saying that they named April and I'd have been sexually abused and stuff like that, because one of them people came in like the hotel and like they tried to fight me and stuff like that. It was that triggering stuff again. It's like they tried to get me locked up one way or another. It's like they tried to do the same thing in 2015, but it seemed like it wasn't the same thing, because if the girl that was there in 2015 was actually just trying to, confess her sins and, and she wanted and she believed in some religious punishment, stuff like that, in what she did, if what she did was actually innocent and she was my wife and she wasn't setting me up, then that seemed like something different. But then after that, like a girl like sometime in 2019 or something like that, her eyes had turned all red and it looked like she had cat eyes and stuff. And then she came in the room, one day and started trying to fight me. And then she had the behavior of somebody that had smoked some crack or was on crystal meth or something, because all she wanted to do was get the debit card that said April Williams, and then she left and stole all the clothes and stuff like that. Or it was that triggering stuff. Like it's like she was doing sex stuff or kissing somebody at the dollar store and telling me that she had sex with other different dudes or whatever. And like, it felt evil because it seemed like she was trying to get me to fight her and she got mad because I wouldn't fight her. It seemed like they tried to do that 2015 August 9th stuff all over again. Like, and they was like, it seemed like she was a different person, because if she was the same person, she would know I'm not the type of dude that would fight or nothing like that. Because the girl that I was with said she wasn't doing none of that. It seemed like some totally different person that showed up, like some prostitute that was like having sex with him or her or them, like didn't have it. It seemed like she wasn't my wife and she was the one that tried to make my wife look bad. And like, it seemed like she was the one that seemed like the one that did drugs or was on crystal meth or a crackhead, because all she wanted to do was get a debit card and then run away with it. And then none of these didn't happen like that before. And I'm like, yeah, a person don't just change that way, because they was like, yeah, something seemed weird about that situation. They was like, yeah, and then, since I did go to mental health court, they know that, like, yeah, Brendan don't really use drugs and stuff like that. And he was buying that girl, like, clothes and stuff like that. It was like, somebody seemed to be did something wrong or whatever. They tried to make him and her look bad, and they were like, "Yeah, that's what it was." Cause see, when they was doing that stuff with the doing sex stuff with different people or acting like a crackhead and all of that stuff and being on drugs, they tried to make her look bad, because it's like they wanted me to think that it was her, and they wanted her to be blamed for what somebody that looked like her did. And then when they stole all my money and stole all my clothes, see, they wanted me to look like a crackhead with them, but they were like, nah, that's kind of hard to do. They were like, he don't look like a crackhead. He looked like the victim of a crackhead that stole all of his stuff from him and that tried to make his wife look stupid, and it don't seem like it's going to fly. That's not really flying, because being married this long, even like, yeah, that's not his wife. You got to do way more than say your name, April Williams, and try to start a fight in order to, that don't really work like that, because they was like, yeah, it don't, yeah, it like something seemed crazy, and then they like that whole situation, child abuse, because if they said somebody got 3 children and stuff like that, when you trying to use the name and trying to act like you somebody's wife and you abusing the dad that they say I am, because they were like trying to steal half of the money from a marriage, doing who knows with it or whatever. It was like, If I'm not able to get the stuff that I'm supposed to get, how am I able to get the children and stuff they supposed to get? If somebody else, is using the stuff to try to make us look bad, they be like, it's crazy. So it was like when you went to that church or whatever, yeah, because it was like, I'm not gonna have sex with somebody saying that they named April Williams if she not my wife and she doing all this crazy stuff. And they were like, yeah, that's when they took it too far. They was too busy saying you crazy and saying you stupid to where you might be crazy and you might be stupid, but if a person not your wife, you don't really be wanting to have sex with them, whether they say they name April or not or whatever, because you just not that type of person, and everybody seem to know that now. And you been in this room, like it's to the point to where it done been people coming by saying they name April Williams and saying, yeah, they April Williams, but they just not that person. And they done said, yeah, it's more than one girl named April Williams that said that she was born April 30th, 1986, and all of that stuff. And it was like, it's weird. It's crazy. Like, they be saying they don't know what's going on. And yeah, since I've been at this hotel, somebody done been saying they name is, one of them they said was working at a Walmart or something. One of them they said had tried to get a Section 8 voucher sometime, but that didn't really work because, in order to tell them that you April Williams and you married, I was like, yeah, I don't really use Section 8 vouchers and stuff like that because you wouldn't want to look like the people that did that stuff. And they were like, when you in them apartments, I was like, yeah, they had tricked me into going over to them apartments. And then I was like, wait a minute. I told them that I don't use Section 8 vouchers and stuff like that, and that I wouldn't do nothing like that and stuff. And it was like, well, what's going on? I'm like, who is you? The video. I'm like, who are you? Like, what is this stuff? The other people would get mad at me for not going along with it because it's like they wanted me to say somebody was my wife and they was not. It's like they was basically saying, all you got to do is say your name is April Williams and look like this and do your hair like this. And it was like, no, because, it was something wrong with them people when they did it because I was like, they didn't have the same memories. It's like they was some kind of robot or some kind of android or not even a real person, like some kind of machine or something. And I was like, hey, you remember the time when the children was born and this and that? It was like, no, like like, it's like they would get stuck. And I'm like, but how you wouldn't remember when your own child was born if you the mom? It's like they wouldn't, something would be wrong with them. It's like they wouldn't be able to stand trial in court or something like that. They would get caught if they tried to go to a courtroom because they'll be like, hey, you remember the time when the other child was born and I was here and I was doing that and you was telling me how much of a great dad and great person? They wouldn't remember that because it was like, it's something wrong. It's like an evil spirit. It's like, if they can't say good stuff about me even when it's true, then they would be like, yeah, something wrong with them because if he was actually there when the children was born and he was there, like, it seemed like somebody that's not his wife and somebody that hate him because, like, even when something is true, you can't change the truth that he was there when the children was born. He did go to jail for contempt of court because when they said a child was abused, and them children was at that lady house, and they said it was the children that was born August 31st, 2004, and the child that was born on July 18th, 2006. Them the church that he was arguing for when he went to jail for contempt of court because he was telling the court that them people had abused me as a child and the children shouldn't be there. Not with people that they know already abused me. And that was way before, October 6, 2008, because that was when the first court case first got started. They kept trying to talk about some reunification and being one big happy family. I'm like, no, I can't be a family with them because once they grown people that already had sex with children, I don't want to get in trouble for the sex that they had. Because what about when the people target families like that and be like, hey, that's that family of grown people that was having sex with children, and look at Brandon, he over there with them. No, not me. They not my family. And so I was like, yeah, they were like, yeah, the court did wrong when they did that. They weren't supposed to try to make people be friends and family with grown people that had sex with children. Now, if they get in trouble for being grown people that had sex with children, I do not want to be friends and family and part of the group of grown people that had sex with children. So they were like, yeah, that just wasn't gonna happen. And so yeah, they weren't supposed to be doing visitations at Yolanda house and trying to make you stay. And like, that's what they did at first. They tried to say, well, why don't you just stay at the house with them? I'm like, they tried to make me look like a deadbeat, basically. They tried to say, why don't you, as a grown husband of Brandon, you and your wife stay in the house with Yolanda and them child molesters and look like a dude that stayed at a person that said that they your mom house while you grown. I'm like, wait a minute, that don't make sense. If I got my own apartment and had my own place and stuff, why would I choose being a grown person staying in the house with somebody that's saying she your mom, making it look like she the one taking care of you and making myself look like a loser? I'm like, no, you'd rather be in a hotel paying your own rent and everybody know that you not freeload and you not some mama's boy using them for a place to stay, because at least she know I'm not using her for a place to stay. At least she know that I'm not freeloading and using her as an excuse. And at least I know that, that I finally, at least I'm not as stupid as I was just because you say that's your mama or that's your sister or that's your family. At least them words don't work no more. They was like, nope, never call them that. Always call them what their character is so you won't get in trouble. Them the people that only like, them the people that they act like they only care about grown people that have sex with children. And they act like they only care about children that have sex with grown people. If you a child and you don't have sex with grown people, they won't like you and they'll be mean to you. And they'll act like they hate you. If you're a grown person and you don't have sex with children, they won't like you and they'll be mean to you and they'll act like they hate you, because that's exactly, after all of these years, how they act every time. And they say it's not an act. When they act that way every time, that's the real them and that's how they actually is. They wasn't acting. And so I'm like, yeah, that's just their character, man. And that's why it's good that you left them neighborhoods and you stopped going to them houses and stuff like that. Because even if a person said they your husband or they your wife, they were like, see, Brandon didn't never do that. They was like, I was always being a good husband. They were like, I was the one in court, because they were like, when he was arguing in court, there's evidence that he was telling them not to go to that lady named Yolanda house. He didn't want them going over there, so he didn't want to go over there neither. They said they kept putting stuff in his food back then. They said they put stuff in my food back then. They said one of them girls, she got caught because they was like, in order to be Brendan's wife, you got to be the kind of person that do not like Yolanda, and you got to be the type of person that you do not like Willie Johnson, because in order to be a Brandon Johnson wife, you got to be the kind of person that don't like grown people that have sex with children. And they was like, see, that's how one of them girls would get caught, claiming that she like Willie and claiming that she like Yolanda and trying to be friendly and friends with them. They was like, see, that's what exposed her character, because they was like, if she was your wife and your girlfriend, she would believe in the same God, a God that, said that being a grown person having sex with a child is wrong, and she wouldn't want to be friends or family with them at all. So they was like, if she don't believe in the same God, then she just some bad person. And it was like, she would need evidence that she believed in the same God and that she not trying to be friends with Willie or Yolanda, stuff like that. Or the people that said that they part of that Williams family that was grown people having sex. Because it was like, whether it was a long time ago or not, once you are known as a person that had sex with a child while you was grown, you was a grown person and you had sex with a child, you gonna always and forever be a person that had sex with a child while you was grown. And it ain't never no coming back from that. So, that's why I left the state of Alabama and I left them neighborhoods. And that's why, when I went to them court cases and stuff at Bibb County and at Mental Health Court, and, they know that I didn't go to any clubs. I was always there when they did curfew check and stuff and alcohol and drug tests. They know I don't do none of that stuff. So that's why they know that they like, and yeah, mental health court is evidence that he had his own place to stay and he was never homeless because he was at the Macon Inn Hotel. And so in order to even have been in mental health court, they got evidence that I had an address the whole time. So they was like, yeah, they don't know who was going to Warner Robins and going to other places and trying to go around children and grown people that had sex with children, whether it was on Avenue E or Avenue T. But they was like, yo, one of them people that was using that name and identity seemed like a child molester herself, because she kept going around the people that they was like, why do she keep going around people that Brendan don't go around? Why does she keep going around people that was being mean to Brendan? And why do she keep going around the people that's grown people that had sex with children? You know, if it was in the past, she wasn't supposed to be doing it no more. You know, and they was like, they think that was a different girl that was using that name and that she was never your wife and that she was just a child molester or one of them, you know, them R. Kelly sister type people that was a grown person that would have sex with children and stuff, and that she, you know, was a bad spirit or something. They said they think that's who she was and stuff like that or whatever, and you know, so my wife would know that, yeah, it was them people that was doing that stuff is what it seemed like. And they said, my wife already know about it because you know how when you first went to that house, they was trying to make you listen to some R. Kelly music and stuff like that. And that's what them boys would be listening to. And like, it seemed like I was the only one that did not listen to him and that I did not like him. And because, you know, I had thrown the CD out the window and was like, I don't want to listen to this. I don't like that music and that stuff that they said Jeremy and them people listen to. And they know that stuff because they was like, yeah, he wouldn't really be that way because them people seem to be the same way as the people that abused and molested him growing up. You know, talking about they peed on him or in him and stuff like that, and grown people that was having sex with children. And so, you know, it's like, it seemed like they tried to use the music and they wanted me being that way, talking about making beats and stuff like that and doing all of that stuff. So, you know, I don't even really do none of that stuff no more. I don't make beats or music or none of that stuff no more because you wouldn't want them using music and talents and art and stuff as a way of trying to get you into some kind of sex group of grown people having sex with children and talking about being rich. No. So, you know, I said no and stuff like that. So, you know, my wife, if you can hear this stuff, they said they tried to make me look real bad, and they tried making you look real bad, and they tried making us look real bad. All of this stuff just because some grown people wanted to have sex with children. So they've been using your name or my name or the name April or the name Brandon, and they've been doing all kind of crazy stuff with chicks and money and stuff like that and children, and it's just crazy. I'm not using no children as an excuse. I'm not using nothing as an excuse. I'm just telling the truth. My name not Adam, and I'm not one of them people from a Bible story. I don't know who my wife is or where my wife is or none of that stuff because they say I ain't got to be like me and one of them people in the Bible story. It's about being myself. I don't got to try to be like somebody else. But, you know, anyway, it was just saying that, you know, they say it's April 30th, you know, my anniversary of 2023. And according to my marriage license, I am married. So, wherever my wife is, if you can hear this, you know, they done played so many games with the name or whatever. Whatever your name is, you know, if you are my wife and stuff like that, you know who you are. And you know what your name is and stuff like that. But, you know, I'm so crazy and they done did so much stuff to me that, you know, I don't know what to think or what to feel. And, you know, they done tried to accuse me of so much stuff, you know. Ever since I ran out that hotel room with that girl that said that her name was April, and, you know, it was sometime in 2019 2020, you know, and I got beat up in that church or whatever and stuff like that, you know. It seemed like she was mad at me because I wouldn't, you know, do it to her.